Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
A man learns his punishment for committing 3 murders. You'll hear what he had to say to the victims' families.
New details about the first case of the Ebola virus in the U.S., why the hospital says it was mishandled, and how some students may have been exposed.
There's not a case in Kentucky, but doctors here at UK Hospital say they are prepared for Ebola.
WKYT News at 5 starts now.
We are tracking a breaking news alert out of Winchester and Lexington. Police are just now telling us it appears that 2 robberies late this afternoon are connected.
Now, the first one happened about 3 at the Winchester Walmart. The other just a few minutes ago in Hamburg. WKYT's Jordan Villan with the breaking details on both of those robberies. Jordan?
Well, as you can see here behind me, the scene is now clear here at Walmart, but that certainly wasn't the case just a few hours ago after a carjacking was reported in the parking lot. Around 3 o'clock this afternoon, Winchester police responded to a call about the carjacking, and witnesses say the robber did show a weapon at the time of the incident. Although folks shopping here didn't want to talk on camera, they say they were surprised to hear that such a brazen crime took place in broad daylight in the middle of a busy parking lot. Now, here's a live picture of the First Security Bank on Sir Barton Way in Hamburg. That's where Lexington police say a bank robbery took place around 4:30 this afternoon. And they believe that the person responsible for the bank robbery is the same person involved in the Winchester carjacking. They say the vehicle description and a license plate match the car that was stolen from the Walmart parking lot. And of course, Lexington police are now working with Winchester police to figure out whoever committed these 2 crimes today. Live in Winchester, Jordan Villan, WKYT.
All right, Jordan, thanks so much for that update. He says he is sorry for what he did. Today, a man who admitted to committing 3 murders apologized before learning his punishment.
Matthew Denholm killed Charles Walker and Sansray Warford in 2010, and then Zachary Flower in 2011, all of them in Madison County. The victims' families were there to hear what Denholm had to say during the sentencing. WKYT's Victor Puente has their reaction in our top story at 5.
Matthew Denholm was sentenced for 11 different charges earlier today. A judge called his crimes horrific, and a family member of one of the victims said they hope he never gets out of prison.
But we just want to let you know that what you've done and taken from us is something that's going to hurt us the rest of our life.
Sansray Warford's father was one of several family members who took the stand to tell Matthew Denholm how his actions have impacted them. Warford's aunt said the murder had changed her brother.
I have lost a brother that I know because he doesn't function the same way that he used to function.
Denholm read an apology to the families of Warford and Charles Walker. He killed the couple in 2010. He told them he would live in shame because of his actions.
I know that children, including my own daughter, will be raised now without parents. It breaks my heart. I'm so very sorry.
The mother of the 3rd victim, Zachary Flower, took the stand. She said she wanted her son to be remembered as more than just a victim.
He can't use his college degree or play music or be there when I grow old. You took that from me.
Flower was killed in 2011 at his apartment in Berea. Denholm received 3 life sentences, but will be eligible for parole in 25 years. He also pleaded guilty to kidnapping, assault, and several other charges. Considering the time he's already served, Denholm will be eligible for parole in 2037. Some of Sansray Warford's family told me if they're alive, they plan on being at that hearing. In Madison County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Because of the kidnapping charge, had Denholm gone to trial and lost, he would have been eligible for the death penalty. There are new details today about the first Ebola case diagnosed here in the United States. Hospital officials in Texas admit they mishandled the situation at first.
We are also learning that school children might have been exposed to that virus. Marley Hall is tracking the situation from Dallas.
Doctors at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital admit that when the Ebola patient first came to the emergency room last Friday, he told medical staff he was visiting from Liberia.
Regretfully, that information was not fully communicated throughout the full team. And as a result, the full import of that information wasn't factored into the clinical decision making.
The patient was sent home and returned 2 days later with worse symptoms. Governor Rick Perry says the patient had some contact with 5 school-age students who went to school this week. They are now being monitored at home.
This is a disease that is not airborne and is substantially more difficult to contract than the common cold.
CDC experts, also known as disease detectives, are going door to door here, looking for anyone who had contact with the patient between September 24th and September 28th.
The patient left Liberia almost 2 weeks ago, where an Ebola epidemic has killed thousands. He was apparently symptom-free, testing negative for a fever at the airport. A Dallas City spokesperson says the patient was throwing up when an ambulance took him to the hospital earlier this week. 3 paramedics who treated him are not sick, but are confined to home and being monitored for symptoms. The ambulance is now out of service for decontamination. Marley Hall, CBS News, Dallas.
Doctors in Dallas say the Ebola patient is in serious condition. U.S. health officials say an Ebola outbreak is unlikely in the U.S., but across the country, communities and hospitals are making sure that they are ready. This afternoon, we talked to UK about the precautions they'll use should they have to treat a case of Ebola. WKYT's Jerica Insko has more now on their plan.
Ebola hasn't reached Kentucky, but that doesn't mean UK hospital isn't preparing if a case were to show up here.
2 months ago, physicians at UK Hospital started planning in advance when the Center for Disease Control announced ways to prepare for this disease. Although doctors with UK Healthcare say they already have proper measures in place, some changes were made, like asking patients more questions, especially about their travel history, and extra training to be able to better spot the symptoms of Ebola patients. No specific rooms or quarantine areas have been set up at UK Hospital for this disease, since all rooms are disinfected for diseases already. But the medical director for infection prevention and control at UK Healthcare says the CDC has ruled that most hospitals like UK already have the tools to treat it.
Any hospital in the U.S. That isolates patients for any other disease can safely manage a patient with Ebola virus disease. So the key is just getting them out of any common area into a private room with a private bathroom as soon as possible.
And as far as Dallas, Texas, where Ebola has shown up, a doctor here says that people should not be alarmed to travel there. At UK Hospital, Jerica Insko, WKYT.
Once again, you can only contract the disease through bodily fluids like blood and sweat when getting in close contact with someone who has the Ebola virus.
Police found a missing mother and son alive in a creek. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Pendleton County. State police say Teresa Ricks swerved her SUV to miss a deer last night and crashed in a creek. Police found their SUV this morning and rescued them. They say the situation could have been much worse.
Luckily, she had her seatbelt on. The child was seatbelted in. The vehicle stayed on its wheels in the creek. There's, you can see, approximately probably 2.5 feet of water in the creek. If it had went in and on its top, it could have been a lot worse than it was.
Rick didn't have any cell service to call for help, and she couldn't get out on her own because she had a broken leg. Rescuers had to set up a rope and pulley system to pull Rick, her son, and first responders out of the creek. Both are being treated at Cincinnati hospitals. In Madison County, the city of Richmond is going pink. Richmond kicked off the Paint the Town Pink campaign this afternoon outside the Madison County Courthouse. The goal to raise awareness about breast cancer. Today's festivities included a kickoff ceremony and a survivor walk. It's going to be a couple more weeks before the newest Wildcats make their debut.
But first, we are getting a chance to talk to a few of the freshmen. WKYT's Rob Bromley's here with our Big Blue coverage. Hi, Rob.
Hello, and as you know, John Calipari will have a team loaded with talent. The roster will include 2 juniors, 7 sophomores, and 4 talented freshmen. They are Tyler Eulis, Trey Lyles, Carl Anthony Towns, and Devin Booker. All are capable of making an immediate contribution, and all are excited about what's ahead.
It's scary to think that with all that talent, we still are on the same team, and we still step on the court as one. So You know, it's a scary feeling, but it's a great feeling for us.
The season hasn't even started yet, so, you know, with the things we do on and off the court together, I think we're just building great team chemistry and becoming a family.
Everybody comes in every day and we work hard, and, you know, that's a big thing with me. I love to work hard, so when I see other guys working hard, it just makes me happy to be around them.
You know, stay together as a unit, as a brotherhood, and, you know, I think if we work together and, you know, just keep competing against each other, we're going to make each other all better.
What a recruiting class brought in by John Calipari. Coming up in the next half hour, Cal talks about how he'll be using analytics this season, and Carl Anthony Towns will talk about how happy he is to be a Wildcat. He committed way back in December of 2012. Stay with us.
All right, Rob, thanks so much. Big Blue Madness, by the way, October 17th. The Blue-White scrimmage is scheduled for October 27th. A shakeup in leadership at the Secret Service following a string of security lapses will tell you who's now stepping down.
It might be an unusual way of relieving your allergies. How brushing your teeth might soon be a solution in better living.
And it was a frightening start to the day for a woman who nearly was hit by a car while on her front porch. She is talking to us about that experience on WKYT News at 5:30.